James Badge Dale of 1923 has recently discussed the horrific shootout and how it relates to the Yellowstone prequel. The actor who recorded his last scene for the January 1st episode regarding the death of a Dutton family member was recently interviewed. He revealed some interesting info. So what did he say? Keep watching to find out. First up, this 1923 star has given us some inside details regarding the tragic shootout and the aftermath. Here's what you need to know. The creator of Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan, adds to the Dutton family ancestry with each prequel. Kevin Costner's character, John Dutton III, was perched in his tree in Yellowstone, but the branches began to spread with the release of 1883. The prequel starring Tim McGraw and Faith Hill as John's older Duttons, James and Margaret Dutton. Now, with the release of 1923, the second prequel, an entire universe has been created. Now, naturally, countless charts attempt to keep track of the historical and contemporary characters, trying to make sense of this confusing family tree. Recently, James Badge Dale, who portrays John Dutton Sr., the oldest nephew, and Jacob Dutton's right-hand man in 1923, gave the public some interesting insights. If you weren't already aware, he is the husband of Marley Shelton's Emma Dutton and the father of Jack Dutton. Beyond that, though, even Dale had trouble keeping up. He confesses, "I don't know the tree." The ongoing joke was this. We would say, "I think we're related, but I don't know how." And honestly, we don't blame them for not fully understanding. It's pretty confusing, to say the least. Now, the three first episodes of 1923 were Dale's main focus, and they all led up to his death scene in the climactic and violent gun duel that concluded the episode "The War Has Come Home" on January 1st. Following a land dispute between Jacob and the sheepherder, Banner Creighton, Banner's group ambushed the Dutton men and women. By automatic gunfire, John Dutton Sr. was killed, and the attack also seriously injured Jack, his fiancée Elizabeth, and Jacob. Jacob then told his wife Cara to write to their other nephew, Spencer, and tell him that he had to go back home to defend his inheritance, the Yellowstone Ranch, before the episode came to a close. Speaking about the shootout, Dale stated that it took longer than 3 days of work, in my opinion, because we twice had to stop down due to wildfires in the West. We lost around 2 work days that week because the smoke made it impossible to work. I arrived to ride horses and engage in a few gunfights with Harrison Ford, and we accomplished it in a really safe way, which is crucial in my opinion. The adversary of anyone working with animals is tension and anxiety. Therefore, in addition to having a lot of courage, you also need to be the calmest person in the room. He was then asked if all the other cast members knew about his fate, which he confirmed they did. The interviewer also asked if Dale will be tuning in for the remaining episodes, which of course he will be. He explained how proud he is of the cast and crew and the product they have created, and honestly, we are too. 1923 was a great watch, and we can't wait to see more. We also cannot wait to see even more connections to its predecessor Yellowstone, and how the entire universe all ties together. Now, speaking of 1923, will there be a second season? Will 1923 have a second season? The 5th season of Taylor Sheridan's Western television series for Paramount, titled Yellowstone, stars Kevin Costner, has just begun. Sheridan and the studio agreed to a contract in February 2021 to produce further episodes of Yellowstone, including the prequels 1883 and 1923, and a spin-off focusing on Bass Reeves. Viewers may be asking if there will be a season 2 of the All-Star 1923, now that season 1 is available on Paramount+. Well, we have some great news. 1923 season 2 is officially happening. The series has already received a second season renewal. Most of the cast is anticipated to return for season 2, which will have 8 episodes, similar to the first season. According to the official synopsis, the second season will explore the early 20th century, when historic droughts, pandemics, the repeal of Prohibition, and the Great Depression all plague the West. where the Duttons call home, and introduce a new generation of the Dutton family. So if you can't seem to get enough of 1923, well, you're in luck. Here are some of the best similar shows. With yet another fantastic spin-off starring A-listers like Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, Yellowstone is back. Nearly 40 years after Yellowstone's initial spin-off series, 1883, the new Yellowstone series, 1923, is set in the year with the same name. Although the Dutton family still exists in 1923, it is no longer the Wild West, and disaster follows everywhere this family goes. Therefore, if you enjoy 1923, the following shows are what you need to watch next. First up, Nanny. In the movie Nanny, played by Anna Jope, Aisha, a Senegalese immigrant who works as a nanny for the daughter of a wealthy Upper West Side couple, Michelle Monaghan and Morgan Spector, who at first seems friendly but gradually makes Aisha's life more difficult. She experiences anxiety around her bosses and is plagued by visions and pictures that foreshadow unfavorable future events. Since this is a Blumhouse production, you can be sure that there will be some horror and sorrow towards the conclusion, even though Aisha's story may just be an unnerving immigrant story. Next up, The Recruit. The Bourne Identity and Mr. and Mrs. Smith co-creator Doug Liman and Alexi Hawley, who also developed Castle and The Rookie, are co-producing the upcoming Netflix series The Recruit. Bring that up so you're aware of the hidden themes in this brand new spy drama. In the 8-episode series, Noah Centineo plays Owen Hendricks, a new CIA employee who finds himself obliged to negotiate with a former CIA asset who threatens the agency's security. Owens is thrust into a perilous scenario right away. Another great watch, Godless. To exact revenge on Roy Good, a son-like protege who betrayed the Brotherhood, notorious criminal Frank Griffin and his band of outlaws are on the move. Roy, who is on the run, finds refuge with tough widower Alice Fletcher, Michelle Dockery, who is also an outcast, in the rundown, remote mining town of La Belle, New Mexico, which women predominantly administer. When La Belle learns that Griffin is approaching, the community comes together to defend itself against the violent gang on the untamed western frontier. Next, Boardwalk Empire. Now, this series is set way back in 1920 in Atlantic City. When alcohol was made illegal, criminals rose to power. During the early years of Prohibition, in The World's Playground, the epic drama series charts the creation and development of organized crime. As Enoch Nucky Thompson, the unquestioned czar of the city, who is a mix of politician and mobster, Steve Buscemi leads the cast. Nucky and his inner circle rule over infamous backroom politics, vicious power struggles, a constant barrage from the feds, and Nucky's own insatiable appetite for women, profits, and power. As illegal alcohol creates lucrative opportunities, Atlantic City develops into a major hub of bootlegging activity. The Mayor of Kingstown is also a must-watch if you missed 1923. This, another Taylor Sheridan creation, trades the Western trappings for the moral uncertainty of a Michigan town where the prison industrial complex rules. Mike McCluskey, played by Jeremy Renner, is a fixer and all-around anti-hero who navigates the troubled waters of his hometown while dealing with his own brand of family drama. The second season of the program is scheduled to debut in January 2023. Next, this list wouldn't be complete without the Sons of Anarchy. Jackson, Jax Teller, the club's vice president and ultimately president, is the main character of the television series Sons of Anarchy, which centers on an illegal motorcycle club that operates outside the made-up town of Charming, California. While Jax interacts with his on-again, off-again girlfriend Tara, his mother Gemma, and the numerous motorcycle club members, the show extensively examines vigilantism, racism, and corruption. Now, if you love 1923, then you will love Succession. Succession is the ideal show to stream if you enjoy power, politics, money, large families, and everything in between. The Murdoch family allegedly inspires it. The Roys, a dysfunctional family with a big media and entertainment conglomerate, which the family is now fighting over as patriarch Logan Roy's health deteriorates, are the subject of this satirical television series, which stars Jeremy Strong, Kieran Culkin, and Sarah Snook. Chaim Abbas, Matthew McFadden, Nicholas Braun, and Alan Ruck are additional cast members. Next up, Warrior. To discover what happened to two local sisters who vanished, private investigators Cody Hoyt and Cassie Duell team up with the former's ex-wife Jenny Hoyt. However, what appears to be a routine case at first develops into a mystery involving drug dealers, cartel members, and dishonest government officials, all of which occur in Lewis and Clark County, Montana. Popular actors like Jesse James Keitel, Jensen Ackles, Brian Garrity, and Sebastian Roche are among the cast members in this cast of stars. Last but not least, Frontier. Due to its isolated frontier setting away from the development of America's largest cities, 1923, despite being set in the 20th century, yet strongly evokes the atmosphere of an old western. There, peace and order are scarce, and corruption and criminality are still rife. Despite being set about 200 years earlier, 1923 has a lot in common with Frontier, a show that Jason Momoa stars as the lead. The series, which takes place in the Canadian wilderness's harsh woods, follows a rogue fur trapper's attempts to overthrow the Hudson Bay Company, which controls the local fur trade. Frontier shines with a violent and uncompromising plot, accentuated by a tour de force performance from Jason Momoa, shining a much-needed spotlight on a long overlooked chapter in American and Canadian history. The most underappreciated show on this list, it debuted in 2016 and ended after 3 seasons and 18 episodes. Unfortunately, guys, that is all the time we had for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to let us know your thoughts on today's video in the comments below.